Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Gas South Convention Center in Duluth, Georgia, it's time for Gwinnett Business Radio. Gwinnett Business Radio is presented by Regions Bank, Brave the Beginning, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
There we are. The sultry tones of Mike Salmon bringing us in, and the quick to the trigger finger of Mike Salmon producing the show.
Wait, Dan's not here today?
Dan's not here today.
Why?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Mike, but
He doesn't
we'll
want to
do
be
that.
on the air.
Yeah,
he
doesn't
will
want to
not
do
it.
I did already break the promise that I didn't make to him that we wouldn't mention him. So I did it on the first 5 seconds because he didn't have my mic ready to go. But that's okay.
And what's he going to do?
I don't know. He's going to sit back and listen to a great episode, not because of you and me, Harper, but because of our two guests. I, of course, am your slightly annoying host, Stephen Julian. Welcome to another, hopefully one day soon, award-winning edition of Gwinnett Business Radio, broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studios inside the beautiful Gas South District Convention Center, and with two outstanding guests. Ashley Wynn is here from Outstanding Organizers, and Lisa Thompson is here from Thompson Hypnotherapy. Before we get to them, you've already heard him. Now you're going to hear him more. It's my co-host, Harper LaBelle.
We're not going to talk about Mike. That's right.
No,
we're
not.
not.
Talk about
We already
Mike.
said we're not going to do that.
No.
And then Dan's not here, so we're going to have to
Dan.
tighten up the ship a little bit
Yeah.
and get her done.
Yeah.
But you said outstanding twice. Outstanding guest and an outstanding business.
Yes.
Let's get to it.
Let's do it. Happy to welcome Ashley Wynn. She is here from Outstanding Organizers. That's why I said it twice, because it's in her name. Ashley, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Outstanding Organizers. Tell everybody about your business and what you do.
So we are located mainly in Gwinnett. We service mainly Gwinnett customers, but we do travel to Fulton and other counties as well. Home organizing, business organizing. We're just now kind of breaking out into workshops and business organizing as well too. So anything physical space, mental space, we declutter it and we organize it pretty much.
You started the business mostly kind of in the physical realm, and we were
Yes.
talking a little before we came on air that it's kind of expanded because
Yes.
you said a cluttered pantry. This is your quote. A cluttered
Yes.
pantry usually also means there's a cluttered mind or a cluttered
Correct.
or cluttered
Yes.
calendar. So if someone were to call you, is it usually I have a big need of this one particular thing? Or are people calling you just going, help, I need a lot of help everywhere, please help me?
A little bit of both. So a lot of the calls that I get, they usually need full homes, usually like their playroom and their bathroom and their kitchen. And some people say, hey, I just think my kitchen needs to be redone. Can you help me? And I'll do that as well too. Just depends on the client and what they need, what they have going on. But for the most part, a lot of time it's full house for the most part. And I usually do it in sections. So you do it in different sessions. So it depends on the client, but I hear a little bit of everything. But yeah, normally when it's physical organizing, most people usually need the mental organizing too. Like I said, their calendar, their to-do list, their lack of to-do lists, things like that. So we're branching out into helping them in that space as well too.
And let's talk about the business side of things, because we are Gwinnett Business Radio. A lot of business leaders listen to this show. So I almost wonder if one of your biggest obstacles to new business, both in personal space and in business, is people going, well, I could use a little help, but I don't know if I need to pay somebody to come in and, it's a little bit of a pride thing, or it's a little bit of I don't want to confess my sin of disorganization.
Sure.
So how do you start with a business owner? You've got a room full of business owners listening to you.
Sure.
How would you like to set them at ease and go, maybe let's just have a conversation?
So normally if we do a consultation, they'll let me know whatever their issues are with their, employees or with themselves. And I kind of try to see where the void is, where I can help. So if it's a business, sometimes employees have mental breakdowns. They might be overworked, might be burnt out. So I will try to focus on that void and let them know where, like, hey, maybe they're overloaded with their schedule. Maybe they need some mental time, some downtime. Maybe their desk is cluttered. That causes a lot of mental stress as well. So just kind of talk and see what the issues are with their employees and try to hone in on that. And then we kind of build it from there.
So instead of maybe business owners focusing just on team morale, or maybe we just need to do something to brighten the mood, it's like maybe you need to get a little more organized and have someone come in and help you and your other employees get in a better mental state by being a bit more organized.
Yes, and that also transfers over to their personal life too. A lot of people bring their personal disorganization sometimes into their workplace, and it kind of trickles over. So helping them personally and business wise definitely is it's a full picture. It's a full picture.
Ashley, I would imagine that part of what you do is you release the grip mentally and physically that people have where they go, I don't know how I could live without this thing or these things. Yep. And there's a commercial, I can't remember which insurance company, but with the old guy with the mustache, and he goes, you're not your parents, okay? You quit acting like your parents. And there's a guy with...
Progressive.
Okay, it is progressive. It's a great theme. It's kind of funny. And there's one where there's a dumpster behind him, and everyone's, I've got floor mats. Do you still have the car? No. And the guy grabs the floor mats and throws them away.
Yeah.
What's this? It's crown molding. You never know when you're going to need it. And he goes, yeah, I know when you need it. And he takes it and he throws it in the dumpster.
Sure.
Never. How do you release the grip without the mental side of somebody going, wait a second, I can live without this, right? Yes. Is that a magic moment?
It is. So a lot of the times I remind them that's why they called me. The first step is they needed help. So the fact that they reached out shows them that they are ready to move forward and to do it. Because if they wouldn't have called me, then they weren't really ready yet. So I say, look, is this something you've used in the last 6 months to a year? If not, then maybe we can donate it and give it to someone else. Maybe can use it.
But you never know, because I may need it later. I need these stacks of papers because you never know if I'm going to have to review something and go back to it. But you're saying it's still okay, right?
It depends. So some people have very emotional attachments to things. And if that's the case, then I don't try to push too hard. I let them I'll compromise. I had a client that had a whole bunch of things from the 80s that they didn't really want to get rid of. So she got an off-site storage unit to house it instead of in her house. That was a compromise, right? So it came out of her physical viewing space of her home, and now she has a storage unit. That's not every story, but that's just one way that I do compromise with some of my clients. I just don't want to see it.
Real quick, the Hoarders show, does that make you laugh or does it make you cry?
Makes me cry, but yeah. I don't specialize in hoarding, so that's not really my jam. But I get it. People have attachments to things. I completely understand.
The person that has 17 boxes of bottled water on top of each other, you never know if I'm going to need this. It's easy for you to go, okay.
That's not a hoarder. That's a prepper. But
Very true. That's a doomsday prepper.
That's another show.
For sure. For sure.
We could. By the way, I feel, I'm not, listen, my McDonald's glass collection that from the early 90s of the Dream Team, that was a big deal.
What about baseball cards? Do you have a bunch of baseball cards?
Actually,
hanging from the drapes in the ceiling everywhere?
I did.
That's how many you got?
I did, but the majority of my baseball card collection paid for 2/4 of my college.
So you did sell it.
Oh, yeah. And I kept just the ones I wanted. Okay. And then as my son got into it, I kind of have dabbled back in, and they've started to spread around a little bit.
Ashley, is there hope for Stephen?
There's hope for everyone.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So, Ashley, how'd you get started? How did this company start, and kind of where's your passion come from?
So, ever since I was little, you can ask my family this. I've always been super tidy, type A, organizing. Everything has its place. I've always been like that.
Did you organize your fries on the plate in order of size and eat them in that order?
That I didn't.
Okay, all right.
Not that bad, Stephen.
Yes.
But to the point where everybody else in the family recognized, wait a second, my room isn't clean enough because Ashley's going to come in and look at it, and it better pass her inspection.
And even now, people ask me for help, like friends and family. That's where it started at. Friends and family always had me organizing, coming to their house, asking what should go here, how should I put this, should I color code my closet, should I, do it by blouse or jacket, always. That was always the go-to person for
There's
me.
a difference, though, isn't there? Asking for permission versus you being the know-it-all, right?
Yeah.
And saying, hey, you need to put this here and that there. It's almost like you understood that there's an order.
Yes.
And the order is, if they want help, I'll be glad to offer it for them, right?
And I've always wanted to do it. It's such a passion of mine. It's like who I am to my core. It's just like to want to see things like tidy and orderly. So I didn't mind. So that's kind of where it started. And then I thought, why not make this a business? Why not help other people? Because I know the importance of being organized and like having things together and having a schedule and being on time somewhere. And some of my friends and family do struggle with that. So I try to help them in those places. Like, just stay on time here and like let it go. Like don't overbook yourself. Just take it easy. And I thought, why not help other people? And that's kind of where the company was kind of born out of just that. Wanted to help other people with it.
But you've had it your whole life, right? Now, high school was, friends, you go over their house or they come over to yours. The light bulb moment. Was it college or was it, just something that I think this this is going to be a business.
This
right?
could be a business.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was a few years ago as far as making it a business. I never really thought to really fully make it a business until recently. I've always been good with it, not knowing it was like kind of my passion and kind of like my purpose and what I like and what I love to do. So the business part came recently. And then I realized there's a need for this in the community. And that's when it was kind of born out of that too.
Now, I would also imagine that the result of your organization made it a lot easier for you because you understood the steps.
Yes.
I've got to get licensing, or I've got to do
Yes.
this, and I've got this.
Yes.
But it's new. So talk a little bit about how for you, the exploration of doing something you've never done before, it's your first business, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So the actual organizing part I can do that in my sleep. That was easy as far as the actual service part. Being that I am someone who's already a researcher, I look into things. I kind of got the process of what I need to do, figure that out. Like, the LLC part, all the, that stuff was easy. That was writing it down, figuring it out, taking jumps,
got
getting
this,
it done. Yeah,
right?
pretty much. And then the hardest part was kind of making people know that, hey, I'm here and I exist, pretty much. Like, the marketing part was probably the hardest part because there was already organizers that already existed before I came along professionally. That was probably the hardest part. But as far as getting it up and running, that wasn't difficult for me at all.
I would imagine you've got some great success stories.
Yes,
and we've
I do.
talked. We've mentioned doomsday preppers and hoarders, but
Yes.
let's talk in your real world of who you help. Give us at least one success story that shows what you do.
I think the one that stands out to me is I've had a couple of people in this realm. This is probably what is possessing me, trying to help people mentally on another space. This is physically. I had a client that was very, very heavily depressed, anxious. And I went to her, we did the consult. I already saw what she had going on. And I got there, I got her bathroom, her kitchen, and then her bedroom cleaned up. As soon as she walked in, she started crying. I mean, bawling, crying. So I knew that I did a great job and she loved the service. A few weeks later, she was like, hey, thank you so much for taking care of that for me. You really shifted my perspective. And like mentally, I feel like bricks have just came off of my body. And she just said that living in that clutter and in that disorganization just really just made her feel even more depressed. And that's when I realized, okay, this is something that I need to really unlock for other people. So.
Is that I think there's an art and a science. There's certain things that work. Okay, you've got to put the spoons back here, or
Sure.
from a kitchen perspective, or
Sure.
whatever. You got to close the desk.
Sure.
You've got to, or the drawer in the desk, and you've
Sure.
got to clean it. There's an action part of it, but when you're dealing with the mental side of it too.
Yeah.
You're a psychotherapist. But you're also, I'm also a coach, and I got to blow the whistle, and I got to kind of push you
Correct.
to do the stuff that you should be doing.
And that's the hardest part. And when I come in there, it's easy for me to go in there, organize it, and leave. The hardest part sometimes is maintenance for most people after, especially
Because they
when
stop
have-
again.
That, and they also have kids, and they have life, and they have softball and practice and all these things that go on after I leave. So the maintenance is kind of like this part 2 after I leave. But yeah.
Well, I would imagine also if someone, so that's as someone who has struggled at times with organization,
Sure.
you go through that whole thing, you purge, you get rid of everything,
Yep.
and then you got to also break those habits. And
Correct.
I am a person who I have to be able to see things.
Sure.
I've known for a while I have to have a huge desk so that I can have a lot of stuff out on it so that I can watch it.
Sure.
The challenge is not having it be stacks and just ridiculous.
Sure.
So I would imagine also one of the things you do is, I can be kept on retainer. I can
Yes.
come in every 6 months. I can come in. So talk a little bit about that.
So I do have some monthly plans. I do have clients that are similar. Like they, and we work on mindset, not just to where you'd have me for the rest of your life on retainer.
Right.
Hey, I want you to actually do better with this. And I actually want you to move forward. Yeah. So yes, I have some monthly maintenance plans that I offer, but the goal is for them to eventually wean me off at some point, right? Because I don't want you to be stuck with
So
me
you do
forever.
want to work yourself out of a job,
Yes.
right? That's
yeah,
the
but there's
goal.
always someone who's going to need help.
Yeah,
in some
there's always
capacity.
someone else.
Yeah, but not in like that. But there's always other people to help. But the goal is to get them to just live a more organized life in general.
And if you help somebody, they're going to tell somebody, and then that person might say, I need you as
Yep.
well.
I have
Right,
a lot
Ashley?
of referrals. People that, hey, she did this for me, she cleaned this for me. I host a lot of workshops with different people and customers as well too, so I can help people kind of in the masses. But yeah, referrals are amazing.
Would it be a funny story where before you go to the dentist, people will brush their teeth and floss a little bit more often? Or
Yes.
if you have someone help you clean the house, they'll clean the house. My mom used to
Yes.
clean the house. What are you doing, Mom?
Yes.
We're having somebody come clean the house.
Correct.
I should be throwing things on the floor, shouldn't I? No, you're going to clean. And so do people often prep for you?
They do.
Like in the business room when you come back?
Yeah.
Look, Ashley, look, my desk looks really
True.
good today.
Or even when I do a consultation, I usually do free video consultations and pictures. So what I'll do is they'll usually try to clean up before. I'm like, don't do that. Like, it's okay. I can see how it is. Like, it's totally fine. It's funny you mentioned dental. I actually have a dental assisting background, actually.
As a hygienist, right?
As an assistant,
Okay.
actually, yeah, for 10 years. So I'm used to people, like you said, the flossing thing is very, very, very accurate.
Look how clean my teeth are.
Yes.
No, they're really not.
Yeah.
You just did this yesterday.
Correct.
You can't brush it 7 times a day for the
Correct.
past 3 days and correct that. All right. So I just want to let you kind of finish up this interview with something. I'm gonna let you. I'll use the word preach, and say again, a room full of business leaders, a room full of people who need some organization. Give us some tips or tricks that you would recommend for someone who kind of feels maybe a little overwhelmed and doesn't know where to start.
So the first thing I tell all my clients and coaching clients and workshop clients is start with small chunks. So when you're thinking about doing something that's like an overwhelming task, don't think about the task as a whole. Think about, okay, how can I do one small thing to knock it down today? So if you have a to-do list of 50 things for the week, focus on 4 or 5 things today. Don't think about the 50 items on your list you have to get done by Friday. Chunk it down, and that'll make it less overwhelming for you to be able to digest what you have going on. That's the first thing I tell people. Second thing is write everything down. Keep a calendar, even if it's like we talked about off air, if it's a notepad. If you have a thought that comes up, you need to call something, make an appointment, write it down, come back to it later, versus forgetting about it, overbooking yourself, and then you have a bigger issue later on. The third thing would be ask for help. If it gets too much for you, reach out to someone, reach out to an organizer, right? Reach out to even to a friend if you don't have the funds or the finances, but reach out for help. And the help can probably show you things that maybe you didn't know that you can do on your own. So,
well, they could reach out to a friend, or they could reach out to an organizer, or they could reach out to a friendly organizer, which I think is what you are.
That is myself.
You're
yes.
also an outstanding organizer.
Thank you.
So for those people who are wanting to get your service, wanting to have an initial consultation, which I assume is free.
Yes, it is.
So how do they get in touch with outstanding organizers?
A few ways. My website has all my information on there. It's outstandingorganizers.com. Has on there my prices, my breakdown, my the process, everything. Instagram is Outstanding Organizers as well. Email me, info@outstandingorganizers.com. All those are great ways to get in touch with me.
And I would like to give a word of testimony. A little testimonial. You can add this to your website if
Sure,
you'd like.
of course.
So one of the things behind the scenes, behind the curtains of Gwinnett Business Radio, when we send out stuff before the show, and Mike does that. See, I've mentioned Mike again. When Mike sends that stuff out before the show, one of the things it says is please try to arrive at the studio 20 minutes before showtime. You walked in exactly 20 minutes before the show.
That describes my whole life.
That's
But yeah.
exactly. You were on task. You read that. You
Yeah.
were like, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
make sure I give myself enough room. You were probably here about 5 minutes early.
Yes.
Checking an email and go, okay, I have enough time. Let's walk in. Let's
Yes.
go.
Yes.
So see,
That's
outstanding.
Yeah, that is how I live my life. You can ask anyone that knows me. I'm very punctual. I'm always on it. I'm always, like we have family vacations. I'm always the planner,
Yep.
organizing the cruise stuff.
And you love it,
like,
right?
I
You
do.
love it.
I do.
Ashley Wynn from Outstanding Organizers, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
today.
having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's a good thinker, forwards and backwards, isn't she? Because you got to go backwards to get here on time. You got to go, okay, when do I need to be there? I'm going to take 20 minutes off. That's when I need to be there and working
Yep.
from there. That's part of organization. I don't have that skill.
No, you don't.
No, I'd fall back. I'd fall. if I
We
had to
should
go backwards.
we should have a bet every week of what time frame Harper's going to walk in. The
Oh,
studio.
you'd take all my money, wouldn't you?
Well, it's a
it's a bet.
usually a tight window, but it is not 20 minutes before the show.
No,
that's exactly.
No, I had
right.
a little situation today. We always have.
We love
situation.
you, Harper.
Well, I love talking about Subaru, and love is what makes a Subaru at 2950 Satellite Boulevard, just 2 blocks more north of the Gwinnett Place Mall. Their number is 470-824-3600. $38.60. If you'd like the Impreza, the Legacy, the Forester, the PRX, it's awesome, or the Outback, you will love the difference. If you're already a Subaruist, you can check out their Facebook page for the latest news, offers, and community events, and we're thankful that Subaru is a sponsor here of Gwinnett Business Radio.
We love Subaru, and thank you for pointing all that stuff out. I like the whispered PRX. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
You know what else we love? We love it when businesses get to come back on Gwinnett Business Radio, and we have that right now.
You mean they don't mind?
I don't know why they're back, but
so
they're
badly
back.
that they were willing to do it a second time to see.
They were like, we got to do that
right
again. That was
Yeah.
terrible. And it wasn't them. It was us. It's always us. It's always me, mostly. That's why I'm the annoying co-host. All right, slightly annoying.
It's not you, it's me.
It's
That's
me.
George
That's right. That's George
Costanza's
Costanza.
line. Yeah.
Absolutely. Lisa Thompson is here from Thompson Hypnotherapy. So the same business, different person. So Lisa, welcome to the studio.
Good morning, Steve. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Thompson Hypnotherapy. Tell everybody about what y'all's company. Y'all's? Whoa. Wow. I need
you
more
from the
coffee.
South?
Yes, I am.
Are
What
you
your
a
company-
natural born?
I am. My whole family was from the North, but I was born
See how
here.
comfortable he
and
was,
it
right?
Slipped right in.
If we were to hypnotize him, we could
I'm
make
going to
some
make you
things
feel
happen.
better right now. I'm
Please.
from Ohio.
What do you guys do?
And,
Yins.
you know, I used to say
Yins,
y'all all
yeah.
the time because I was right across the river from Kentucky. So,
There you
know,
go. So
it's
Southern
all
Southern
good.
Ohio.
It's all good.
You're
Yes,
a Southerner.
I'm
Southern
a Southerner.
Ohio. There you go.
I'm a clinical and medical hypnotherapist, and the other half that Harper's talking about is my husband, Ken Thompson. So we're both hypnotherapists, and this is our retirement business. And so we help people change their habits and behaviors toward the good. But, you know, everybody can change it for 30 seconds. Like, everybody can make a change, like, right now when they really want to do that. The tricky part is having it seamless. So it just becomes who you are and what you do, like being on time for work. You don't have to think about it and stress about it and struggle with it every day. So we help people customize and address the things that are holding them back from being on time every day or accomplishing whatever else it is in their lives that they want to accomplish.
For those people who have never gone through hypnotherapy, what would be some of the things? I would imagine there's a long list of things you would love to, break down myths, misunderstandings, or just lack of knowledge. Hey, I mean, I've heard the word. I have a general idea. I've seen something in a movie or a TV show. What would you tell them? What would their experience be like, especially if they work with you and your husband at Thompson Hypnotherapy?
Well, the most important thing that you need to remember is that when you're watching something on television, even if it's in, even if the scene is like in an office, it's still entertainment. Okay, it's not real. It's not a reality show.
Yeah.
It's still entertainment. The same thing with stage shows. Stage shows are designed for entertainment and to show what the power of suggestion. And at no time is anyone beyond their own personal will. Your self-will, your personal choice can never be taken away from you. If it could, I would be a very rich woman because I would be paid a lot of money to make people stop smoking. But that's not something that anyone has the ability to do. We have to give over our freedom of choice for that to happen. So some of the things that we do are help people to, for instance, permanently lose weight. I want to lose 40 pounds. I want to keep it off. I want to stop yelling at my husband. I feel like I have trust issues in my personal relationship with my boyfriend or my husband or my whoever it is. I just want to start responding better or accomplishing things better. I feel like I can build my business to this point, but it's just not happening, and I don't know what's in the way. I want to be able to stand up in front of people and talk without my knees shaking. These are all habits, things we've learned how to do, and like taking a shower. Everybody's been bathing their entire life. You're never going to forget how to do that. It's automatic. Nobody gets in the shower and says, what should I wash first? You already know the answer to that question. So we're here to help you if you have a habit that has evolved that's not working for you anymore. For instance, sometimes we help people move past things that worked when they were children, like you grew up in a really negative household and you had to learn how to protect yourself. But that might not work so good once you're an adult. You don't really want to protect yourself from your own family, right? But those things have been conditioned, they're a part of us, and we help people discover those types of things and then take the necessary steps to improve their image, to feel better about themselves, to move forward and be happier and more successful.
Is that all?
Sorry.
No, I love it. I would imagine that stinking thinking is one of the first things that you would have to at least understand when you're visiting with a client, a customer, literally a person across from you. And you have to hear what they're saying and go, okay, I've got 5 or 6 things I could say right now, but you got to continue to listen so that you understand. I would imagine it would be the progression of the way somebody got to from A to B, but realizing also it's not working, it's incorrect. I said with you before, 2 plus 2 isn't 5. I still think I can get along with smoking or whatever the thing is, but I need help. And that's when they come to you, correct?
Yes.
In some cases,
sometimes,
obviously.
yes, yes. And so stinking thinking, we all have it because because we get what? Millions of stimulus every day, and you're going to absorb 80% of that. You're not really going to filter it out, and it's going to affect. That's why they say don't hang around with negative people, right?
Yeah.
Because you will become like who you hang around with. So part of it is helping people to, I'm not here to order you or to tell you. I mean, I'm going to share insights, but the best way for somebody to learn is to figure it out on their own, to come to those revelations, right?
Would it be fair to say that you're there to help enlighten some people, not in a funky way, but
So
offer options that haven't worked for you in the past, or maybe you're no longer using?
Yes, but everybody has to be is at their own stage of readiness, and that's where I really excel as a hypnotherapist. I'm going to get more from that person if I allow them to have their own process, right? If I'm trying to force the square peg through the round hole,
Yeah.
all I'm going to get is resistance, and there will be no change. So it's a very sort of intuitive and magical art in the sense of we have rapport, we have a relationship, but it's like your eyes are closed until they're opened, and it's me who's leading around. You have to trust me that I'm not going to lead you off the end of a cliff, right? But I also don't want to do anything to make you not trust me. So I'm going to be very careful with you. You're a human being. You're valuable. There's nothing to judge. There's nothing to look down at you at. I just want to help you get where you want to go.
We're speaking with Lisa Thompson. She is with Thompson Hypnotherapy. Lisa, I love all the information you're giving us today. And I'm going to ask a question that kind of went through my mind as I'm sitting here listening to you. I think I love that you brought up, the television show, and hey, that's just a TV show, and no one is ever not in possession of their self-will, right? So it's not just put them to sleep and all of a sudden they change. They have to make the changes. So I'm going to ask the question as I'm listening to you, what is the difference, if you can explain it, and if not, that's fine. What is the difference between what you do with hypnotherapy and going to a counselor to talk through issues and and I know you would not say, well, counseling, both have their place. So what is the place of hypnotherapy in terms of someone who maybe is already seeking counseling?
I was telling Harper there's no perfection, but that's the perfect question.
Oh.
So the difference
I've never been told I've asked the perfect question, so I'm
really
just going to take my headsets off and sit
number
back and
one,
listen.
we do at least half of your session is going to be talk therapy because we need to get the mind and the subconscious mind on the same page. You're not going to accept anything that you haven't bought into. Okay, so that's the first part. The difference is that when you're in talk therapy, that is total your conscious mind, your awareness. Your awareness is only about 10% of the picture. The 90% that's going on behind the scenes is driving your behavior and causing all of those responses. Then you're like, why am I doing this? That's all happening behind the scenes. So I want you to think in your social media. You've always done the pin, right? You can take something off the internet and you can stick it somewhere so it's anchored, right? It's exactly the same way when we're doing talk therapy, right? You want the work to be pinned. If you're only talking about it in your subconscious mind, it's just kind of floating around in there, 10%. You've got to make it happen every single time because you're not in connection with the power of your mind or the part of your mind that can pin it and make it system-wide. So that's what hypnosis does. Hypnosis allows you to deliberately access the subconscious mind. You're doing it all day long, naturally, autonomously. Now we're going to use that same concept and that same tool to make you the person that you want to be and to allow you to move past all of that.
That's a great
That's
answer.
the difference.
Okay. Yep.
So you have to recognize some things. What is, and I know brain research and understanding, almost every day there's something that's, he didn't even know this. And guess what this does? The cerebral cortex or the medulla oblongata, right? All these things that we learned in high school. From a football perspective, the CTE things that's going on. I would say that nutrition, you know, there are times where you get hungry and you don't know why, but it's because you're hungry. But you don't recognize that, right? So, but that does affect your behavior and ultimately your outcome. Are there also other things that stick out in your mind's eye of, yeah, absolutely, this is, people don't know enough about it, but there are other things, shock or trauma, that is hidden in a certain spot in the brain, and when you get close to it and touch it, it triggers reactions. Smell, certain smells will get you to react. So talk a little bit about, you know, some of the things that you've learned that you're still continuing to learn that have helped you help others.
So number one, there are actually 8 rules about how the mind operates, and most of us are just not aware. So
There's
you're gonna learn a lot about how to, you know, the different ways that your mind works and how, and more importantly, how it works in you, because everybody's mind is different because it's operating from a different database. And so the important part is to learn the connection between what's happening today and what may have been taught to you or you absorbed or accepted you know, in your past, either as a child or from a specific event. Even, you know, we talk about trauma and we think of, you know, really awful things like, you know, war and rape and crime. If you grew up in a really negative household where you were criticized all the time, this is going to have a very significant effect on how you operate as an adult. And some of that is going to get in your way. It just is, because we're not healthy when we're criticized all the time. So we work through those kinds of things. I'm working with a woman in her 50s who's just now, as a result of having sessions, able to stand up to her parents who have been negative to her whole life. I mean, it is severe. And, you know, maybe another person would have walked away a long time ago, but she loves them and she wants a relationship with them. But now she realized that's really not going to be possible.
Don't treat me like this anymore, Mom and Dad, right? And
yes.
having
Stand
the courage,
up and say how you feel, draw the boundary, and that is huge. Her whole life is different. She feels released. She feels like she can go ahead and pursue the things that she wants in her life and feel good about that. And, of course, we're continuing to work with the ramifications of the other ways that it's affecting her.
How does a young girl from southern Ohio, near the Kentucky border, get involved with some deep, intricate things like that to where she wants to help others because of what she's learned?
I had the blessing of actually knowing a world-renowned eye surgeon who used hypnosis to lose weight. And he was in the same building with the man who became my mentor. And I knew them socially. We were in the same dance club. And so over the period of about 9 months, I watched him, you know, and we came in several times. He was in a negative place. He had cancer. He drank a lot. He was very stressed out, very successful, but it was taking a toll on his body. So after about 9 months, he had lost 60 pounds. He was this gregarious, nice, warm person. And I was like, what did you do? And he said, hypnosis. And I looked at him and I said, that's not the answer I thought you were going to say. So it took some more time for me to get acclimated to that new concept, but eventually.
Fair to say, though, that gentleman probably would have, in other words, would say, I got my act together, but I needed help in getting my act together. Is that a part of what triggered you to go, hey, I can help other people get their acts together?
I went because I saw the results, and it's still the strongest referral that we have when somebody knows somebody that's had that transformation, whether it's in weight loss or, you know, you've set those boundaries for your parents. That's the strongest picture, and it worked for me, and it works for everybody else.
So I absolutely, I think results obviously, and with what you do, people can see results or talk about their results because it's usually deep-seated things, and they're completely changing their lives and able to chase dreams they couldn't chase before. Let me just ask this one last question to kind of wrap up. For those people who we're going to give the contact information, but before we do, what will their first experiences be like? Where do they start? What is, is it an initial consultation? Just kind of take someone through, if they reach out to Thompson Hypnotherapy, what's the first thing they experience?
So the first thing that hopefully they experience is a quick response from either myself or my husband. You can reach out, email, you can call, you can get to us from our website. But the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to ask you what's motivated you to come, just in a general sense, so we have an idea. And then we're going to suggest a complimentary consultation so that we have a brief questionnaire that's going to ask some background questions, so we can use that as the foundation for our first meeting. It'll be totally without charge. And that's where we're going to talk about what you want to be able to do. What's the goal and how we're going to get there, how many sessions it might take. And how, what are the kinds of things we're going to do in the sessions. And we'll also talk about what it's going to feel like to be hypnotized, because some people think that's like I'm going to be knocked out like in surgery. And you're unconscious in surgery. You are conscious in hypnotherapy. You're just in a very deep, relaxed state, and you'll still be able to hear voices, and you can pull yourself out of it anytime you want to. You just won't want to.
All right. So for those people who want to start down that road or just have some questions and want to learn more about it, how do they get in touch with you? Where do they get more information?
So you can reach me at through our website. I think all of our contact information is there, which is www.thompsonhypnotherapy.net.
Okay. And an email or phone number?
You can email me at lisa@thompsonhypnotherapy.net, or you can phone me at 937-499-4273. I love to talk in person, obviously, since that's what we do.
Since, right. There's going to be some
and it's the
conversation.
rapport. So we never worry that Ken and I believe that, but everybody winds up with the person that they need to be with, whether it's me or whether it's Ken. It's just you're going to be attracted or connecting with the right person.
And Thompson is spelled Thompson, and I'll go ahead and spell hypnotherapy, hypnotherapy.net. LOUSE. All right, sorry.
Yeah, spelling's good. So we both need to get better. We need to get organized, and we need to get our mind right.
Yes.
That's
what Mike tells us every time at the end of the show.
It's a no-brainer.
There we go. We started the show with Mike. We ended the show with Mike. We're on a good roll here,
There we
Harper.
go.
And he hasn't fired us yet. He may after this show.
The thing he didn't do, though, today is hit the bell when you asked the perfect question.
I did ask the perfect question. Man, I am walking out of here on cloud nine. I've never been told I've asked the perfect question. We always... So to
it's a little late now.
Yeah, it's a little late.
Yeah, a little late.
So longtime
Multiple
listeners... We used to keep score of who got told, oh, great question. None of us have ever gotten perfect questions. So I am, this is it. This is the highlight of my career.
Yeah, you're basically at the top of Mount Everest right now, and there's only one way to go.
Yep, and that is to say thank you one more time to Lisa Thompson from Thompson Hypnotherapy, to say thank you to Ashley Wynn from Outstanding Organizers. Thank you to Mike for producing the show and putting up with us. Harper, thank you to you. Always appreciate doing the show with you.
Appreciate it.
Let's go.
Good day today.
Let's go fishing.
Let's do it.
Up at Lake Lanier.
All right.
We'll catch you next time on Gwinnett Business Radio.